What's a big skipper?
Of a boat. Welcome back to the Daily Rundown with me, Fiona Fox. Now, his name is now officially Michael Caine. How was that?
That's
not bad. News this week broke that the British actor born Maurice Micklewhite, which I never knew, has officially changed his name by deed poll to his screen name. This was in response to heightened security measure at passport control, where the Italian job actor was frequently stopped. Caine cited the rise of terrorism around the world as another reason for being delayed at airports. Do you think he's right to do this, or is he just... How much of a delay can that be causing? I mean, I don't know. That's what his name is.
Yeah. But if everyone knew him as Michael Caine and he turned up with a passport that said what? Margaret Michaelmas. You're close.
Maurice Micklewhite.
So there you go. People would have been like, you're not Maurice Micklewhite, you're Michael Caine, you. I know you.
That sounds like that should have been his stage name. You know, not because it's jazzy or anything, just because it's a bit of a joke name, isn't it? Maurice Micklewhite.
Everyone had to change their name in those days, didn't they? Wasn't John Wayne's name Marion something?
Yes, that's true. His name was Marion.
Big Daddy was Shirley Crabtree or something.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Big Daddy the wrestler?
And Jesus was Shirley.
Yes.
Jesus.
I believe your real name's Brian.
I'm Brian.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's true. No, but it's a funny one, isn't it? Because I mean, I just can't imagine him going through, and it caused him so much hassle that, you know, it's affecting his airport journeys, his flight. I suppose you're right, though. Yeah, if you're sort of like,
And obviously, he's kind of, we've discovered in the break he's 83. So although you think you know what he looks like, an 83-year-old guy without the makeup and this camera gauze and stuff is going to look radically different. So
I reckon he just looks like Maurice Micklewhite, though. That's should just send him through.
On the other hand, I'm kind of glad that people are having to wait longer in lines, because you want security like that in airports, especially now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I never go on flights.
He's made it far more difficult.
Don't get a flight to Blackpool.
And he does live away.
He's going to have to change everything now, though, isn't he? His driver's licence, his passport, all that's going to take time. Add all that together.
Hassle.
I bet that's more than the trouble he got in an airport, because he's...
But it makes me wonder, I guess, like every single thing, like, you know, so say, I don't know, when he goes and does a film and he submits his invoice or however you get paid for doing a film, has he written Maurice Micklewhite? He must have written that on it, mustn't he? So he's actually, why has he done this years ago? He's managed to get to 83 and had the hassle of having two names. Why is he bothering now?
Well, 83, life is short when you get to 83. He doesn't want to spend half his remaining twilight years in a queue at passport control, does he? He's got a lot to cram in.
Taxing his car.
Exactly.
All that hassle.
He wants to get on, get the shopping in and get back to his Italian mansion.
Nobody questioning him. You might be right. Do you think there's an element of him just becoming a bit of an impatient owl lad, as we would say at home now?
It must be. I mean, if you're constantly getting stopped and sort of treated with suspicion at passport control, it's going to get on your nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
And at least now, when, you know, he passes his passport over and people look at it and it says, or it did say, it will now say Michael Caine. And he can say...
Maybe that's the issue. Maybe his ego couldn't cope with the fact that his face was not his entry pass. That's probably what it is.
Yeah,
it was a bit of an ego prick there, because he just thought, don't you know who I am?
Mind you, I changed my name, you know.
Did you?
93, I think. I was born Paul Wilde, which was a highly appropriate name for me, with no E. And when I applied to join Equity in the early 90s, there was already a Paul Wilde.
You're joking.
And so I've got my mother's maiden name, Paul Burgess.
What a cool
But
name
I
to be
changed
born
it,
with,
and
though.
so now I'm Paul Burgess legally across all fronts.
But so many people would probably take the name Wilde. But I bet that Paul Wilde, who took your spot, took your name before you went into Equity, but his name's not even Paul Wilde.
Well, he's not around anymore.
You didn't feel like going in and yoinking it?
Dealt with.
I see.
No, he's still around.
Just move a little further up the sofa. It's fine.
Just don't annoy him. Don't annoy him.
No, don't look directly at him.
Hassle though. You know, my mum's was born Ellen, and somewhere along the line, you know, when you're kids, sometimes you think, well, I don't know if blokes do this, but she decided that Ellen wasn't as cool as Helen. I don't know. She was thinking like Helen Shapiro or something. Whatever the time was, whoever was cool.
Helen Keller.
But not so sure it was that one. I think it was probably the Shapiro one. Anyway. She goes and changed her name to Helen, but only by telling everyone from now on that her name is Helen when she was like about 20. So I thought her name was Helen until, you know, halfway through my life. But it's now, since I've moved away, and now and again I'll try and book her a flight or something, you know, and you know with certain budget airlines, there's no room for mistakes. You make a mistake, your passport number, any of that stuff. You just have to go and book a new flight. Do you know how many times, it's happened to me so many times where she's gone, then did you put Ellen down? I went, no, I put Helen down because that's what I think your name is. But she hasn't done it legally in any way.
Right.
But like, I think even like, you know, her wedding certificate or all that still says Ellen. But everyone just thinks her name's Helen. So, you know, it's a bit of hassle. We should just stick with our own names. Anyway.
On the can of worms there, I'm going to be back now.
Fiona Fox. Right, let's
Is that
go.
your real name
Let's
then?
go to our next story.
Is your name Fox?
Of course it's my real name. My first name was Fox, actually. I just thought it would be just fairer to put a surname. Let's go to our next story. We'll fit no more in. A new report by the Trussell Trust reveals fears that some parents will not be able to feed themselves over the summer holidays. The charity said demand on its 35 food banks in Wales peak during July and August, when there's no access to school dinners or breakfast clubs. Now, last year, food banks gave out over 4,700 emergency food supplies to children, 300 more than in May and June. The trend is predicted again this year, and in response, the Trussell Trust has launched holiday clubs across Welsh food banks. Sorry, we've taken a total switch around story-wise there, haven't we? But what do you think about this one? Should the government be focusing more on tackling this as a crisis? I'll be honest, I was very surprised at that level of strain that the summer holidays caused for parents. Were either of you?
I knew it was bad, but not just in the summer holidays. There's more people using food banks than a lot of people realise. Yeah. And you know, the next time Theresa May sitting down with her Fortnum and Mason's hamper, quaffing some champers or something over a nice Tory lunch, I hope she can rest easy, because that's shameful that our country, UK, Great Britain, individually, whatever we may or may not become, has that level of food banks necessary.
Yeah.
It's appalling. It's absolutely shameful.
And it's also creating what is going to be... The problem with things like this is now food banks are amazing and they help a lot of people, but they cannot store fresh food.
Yeah.
So it's all tins and packets. And now you put someone on a diet of tins and packets alone for several weeks, and that's going to impact their health, which then will impact the health service. So this is a self-perpetuating thing, whereby it's going to end up costing the country more and more and more the more we ignore these problems that our own government are causing. People shouldn't, it's 2016, people shouldn't have to go to food banks and ask for food. Now I know that there's been a lot of, Asda started to do these veg boxes that are £3.50 because it's all misshapen and kind of, you know,
the ugly fruit box, like
fruit
people
box,
won't buy.
So there are things like that nowadays, but if you haven't got a spare £3.50, if you're on benefits and you've got 4 kids, what are you meant to do? Pasta and tomato sauce from the food bank.
Not 4 kids for a start, but that's another story entirely.
Yeah.
But you're right though about that nutritional situation. Like, if it was just pasta and tomato sauce, tins, that kind of thing, like that, you know, you're talking about grown kids, young families.
It's going to have a real impact.
There's going to be an impact there. Yeah. Definitely. I was shocked by this, but the other element of this story is that we're talking about kind of like, obviously maybe people assuming kind of like they're on benefits, but the thing is, a lot of these families, you have both parents are working and they're still barely managing to pull themselves over the poverty line.
It's hard. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, most people are still on the minimum wage. You know, there's a big deal made about, we've gone up to living wage. Well, so we should, if that's what they've dictated that you need to live on. It should have always been at whatever it is, £7.59.
And there shouldn't be an option that isn't the living wage.
It's nonsense.
You know,
it's absolute nonsense. And even that still really isn't enough. Not the way things are now. Everything's increasing and nothing's going down in price. Nothing ever will. Rents will never go down anymore.
And potentially, that's going to get worse with to go back to a Brexit referendum result as well. You know, we're kind of looking at price hikes right across the board, I think.
Yeah, well, without the help of Europe, you've got all the trade will slow down. People won't be buying or exporting as much to or from the UK. So that's a big part of our income going, our economy, you know. There's just loads of implications to everything. Seems to lead back to that vote a little bit.
It does. Recently, it definitely does.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is something though that there isn't enough awareness about? Like, is this something that the government should be prioritising right now?
They're probably too embarrassed to do that, I suspect.
Oh God, and is that? Are we allowed to accept
Corbyn
that as an excuse?
raises the issue of poverty and how many more children there are in poverty now. Almost every time he's in Parliament, and then he'll get ripped for his jacket or his tie.
Yeah,
or
it's
something
missed the
ridiculous.
point entirely.
He's raising really crucial, important issues. Why are there 20,000 more children in poverty now than there was last year? Why?
I suspect the government are hoping that
at all.
Bob Geldof will come along and do a fundraiser or something, so it takes all the onus away from the government to do anything about it, you know.
Somebody made a good point, I won't be able to remember now, so it was a reference to the sort of charity events and the comic reliefs and all that they do, that I know it was Trident. They said, why don't we put all the money that we spend on Trident into feeding our kids? And then, you know, if they want Trident so much, why don't we have a yearly celeb endorsed charity events like comic relief?
Somebody did a nice little mathematical equation on Facebook and put it in an image and said, well, we're renewing Trident and that's going to save, is it 15,000 jobs or something? And somebody said, well, why don't we just take the money that we were going to spend on Trident, give all those 15,000 people $1 million each, and we'll still have X amount of billions left over to spend on the country.
Yeah.
There you go.
No.
Problem solved.
We don't need defence. We wouldn't have a prayer if there was a
couch.
world attack anyway. So
If it came to us,
yeah,
yeah.
it's nonsense.
That sickened me about her.
And that's the
Theresa
start.
May.
She's been in power 2 weeks now already. It's bombs, not food. It's like, oh, here we go again.
Would you be willing to press the button and kill 100,000 men, women and children? Yes. She said, why? If there's one already on the way here and there's nothing we can do about it, why would we do that? Why would we say, we'll get our own back? How sick is that?
And as you said, she's only there a couple of weeks. It does feel that, you know, there's the lack of priority for the actual kids in this country, doesn't it, at the moment?
Yep.
Do you feel? It's just sad. It's just, hopefully that will turn around. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for your contribution to all our news stories. We're going to go for our break now. When I come back, I'm going to have a very special musical guest with me, so don't miss that. See you soon. Thank you.